everybody, it's comedian Jen Kober welcoming you to another episode of my podcast, Bitchin' Over Biscuits, where we deep dive into a different genre of podcast every week with our special surprise celebrity guest. This week, we have got a doozy for you. One of the funniest men working in comedy today. He genuinely makes me belly laugh every time I see him. Put your hands together for the very funny maven of Midwest mayhem, Mr. Jason Schommer.
Hello.
Hey,
Coming
Jason.
to us all the way from Minneapolis, Minnesota. He is just one of the greatest comedy minds working today. God, this man makes me laugh. So happy to have you here with us, Jason. And you're coming to us from the Minneapolis.
I am.
The nicest place.
Betcha.
You betcha. You betcha. And of course, with us always, my producer, director, grounding force, and guru of podcasting, Mr. Mike Brignac.
Hey, Jennifer. Hey,
Yeah.
Jason.
Good to have everybody with us today. And today, our genre of podcast is one of my faves. We are talking today about true crime. True crime. The thing that literally keeps me up at night. We are doing a deep dive into this bad boy hot topic. But before we do, as we know, the star of this show is always biscuits. We will be bitching over biscuits. We eat biscuits. We bitch about our topic. Today, Brooke has made me an everything bagel biscuit. So she put the everything bagel seasoning in the biscuit mix and then brushed it with garlic butter and then put more everything bagel seasoning.
I love that seasoning.
Homemade biscuits. This bitch got up today and made biscuits for this podcast. I love her. I say bitch completely with all the love and respect.
Term of endearment. Yeah, that's a loving term.
She is amazing. Also, want to find out what you guys are eating in the way of biscuits. Jason, what do you got?
Well, because I'm so busy and just don't have time, I got my biscuits from Perkins. And then I put a little bit of butter and a little bit of jelly on them.
What kind of jelly you got there, brother? You going strawberry or grape?
Strawberry, yes.
Yes.
That's my favorite.
Because you weren't raised by monsters. You are a normal person.
Right.
I worry about the grape jelly people. Mike, what are you eating this morning?
Well, as I've mentioned before, I bought that bag of Mary B's frozen biscuits. It has 20 biscuits in it. So I'm running through the bag. So I've got another Mary B's biscuit with strawberry jam on it.
All right. Here's what I love, because you and I talk all the time, Mike, because we've known each other since God was a boy, and and I know, and I want to share with everyone that you are on a carnivore diet. You are currently only eating meat with a side of meat. He sent me a text the other night that said, "I'm having a ribeye with a side of bacon." It's like, you're my fucking hero. So we've been laughing about how hard it would be for me to stick to that, because I just crave a vegetable every now and then. I need some roughage, something to kind of mix it up, a little salad or something. But you cheat every week when we do the podcast and eat a biscuit.
Bitchin' over biscuits is my hall pass.
I love that. I love that for you. Jason, you're a vegetarian.
I am. I'm on the polar opposite.
That's why you were looking at me that way.
But
I know, my eyes started to get a little narrow, like little side eye. It's just like, meat is murder.
What's so funny is Jason is the anomaly of all of it, because not only is he a vegetarian, he's a vegetarian who doesn't like vegetables. Am I right, Jason?
You're right. Yeah, it's true. I'm like also the world's biggest vegetarian. You know what I mean? Put it this way to people, I'm more of a carbitarian.
Oh, yes.
Really like carbs.
I love carbs.
I can't be mad at him. I can't be mad at him. Every time I'm with Jason, because we do a lot of gigs together, because he's hysterically funny. And anytime I'm anywhere near him, I'm like, will you please not headline tonight and come open for me? And he's like, all right. So he comes to do it, but we always afterwards go find some food. And because Jason is a vegetarian, one thing he is very good at finding is pancakes. We eat a lot of pancakes and French toast together because, it's the carb of choice.
Oh, I miss
Non-vegetable,
carbs. I miss
vegetarian.
that.
You can't go wrong with breakfast ever, any time of day.
Carbs are wonderful. I know I'm doing this thing, but like I told you the other night, Jen, I've lost all my joy about eating because
He said to me, I've lost 6 pounds, but I've also lost all my joy.
Oh, sad.
I told him that's how I feel when I give up sugar. It's just like, where did the happiness in my work
yeah,
go?
it's sad. I've
Well,
never thought I'd be sick of meat.
see, that's said like a true straight man.
But
Yeah, speaking of carbs and true crime, today's topic is true crime. I was sort of thumbing through some crimes to prepare. I like to be prepared for such.
right.
Do you remember the Twinkie defense? There was someone murdered Harvey Milk. A fella murdered Harvey Milk, the
I remember that.
activist in
Yeah, San Francisco.
and they called his defense the Twinkie defense because he claimed that he was so hyped up on the sugar and preservative
Oh my
Twinkies that
gosh.
it affected him mentally. Now, Jason, you love a Twinkie, am I wrong?
Absolutely.
Do you think
I've never been so sugared up though that I'm just like, I'm gonna kill someone.
That's what I'm saying. Like, do you know how many Twinkies I would have to have for it to make me murderous?
That's a lot of Twinkies.
I wasn't aware of this before until just this moment. So I kind of also feel like some doors are opening down the road.
I didn't know this was an option until right now.
Like, what about like when you go to the state fair and it's like a deep fried Twinkie? Like, I mean, would that put you in murderous rage quicker?
I think it probably could. I mean, as far as murderous rages go, I don't feel like I even really need sugar at all. I just push the right button in me. But see, I always think of Twinkies as calming me down.
Right.
Like, if I'm ever in a panic, or when I was a little kid, they used to prick your finger to get blood out of you to do blood tests, right? And I remember going into the pediatrician's office, and there was a little, what looked to me like a school desk, that the little front part of it came down. And I thought it was just a cool school desk. And I was loving a school desk. So I went and sat in a little chair and I pulled the thing down. And then I realized I was trapped in the chair now. And it was the chair for them to prick your finger. And I start panicking and freaking out. And the only way they got me to calm down so they could put the little prick in my finger and take my blood and distract me was giving me a Twinkie. So I always think of them as being a calming force. I can't imagine them making me want to kill.
Right.
I don't know where to begin because like I did not get a Twinkie at the doctor's office. You know what I mean? I think I got like a scratch and sniff sticker that smelled like a pickle. So
oh, those were the good ones. The ones that smelled like pickles and the ones that smelled like cotton candy were always my favorite.
it would say like you're a big deal. So
and then you would scratch it and be like, oh my God, it really does smell like a pickle.
I feel like I just want a do-over with my life now. I'm so glad I'm doing this podcast.
Well, I'm glad it's not making us murderous. When we were talking about this topic, I sent Jason an email about, hey, we're going to talk about true crime on your episode. And you were telling me that your hometown was on an episode of Dateline.
What?
Yes, it was. Yeah. There was, it's complicated. It happened in 2012. What happened was two teenagers that were cousins went in to rob someone's house on Thanksgiving. And so the homeowner was home and he ended up shooting both of them.
Oh.
Oh.
But he didn't call the police until the day after.
Well, he was digesting.
So
Thanksgiving. I got a full belly. I've just killed 2 people. I need
Right.
it.
yeah, he said he didn't want to disturb them on Thanksgiving because it's a holiday. I mean,
Oh,
you get any
wow.
more Minnesotan than that? I
He
mean,
didn't want to disturb the police.
yep, on Thanksgiving.
You know, those people from Minnesota are the nicest
Yeah,
people.
they
I
are.
kind of buy that as a reason. He didn't. I think I might have thought, well, it's Thanksgiving. Nobody's there. They're going to be just as dead tomorrow, and it's probably cold enough in Minnesota for the bodies to have been perfectly preserved, just laying there in the living room.
Yeah, it's cold. I mean, it is, but it's oh man, it just the town was divided. It became this huge lawsuit of the law. You're able to defend yourself and your property versus was this premeditated because then they found some recordings from him and he had gotten like Thanksgiving Day he had moved his truck and went and parked it down the road to make it appear that no one was home, and so it's this whole convoluted.
Wait, so they think he was luring them in there to specifically kill them?
Yes.
Well, now how would he have known that these 2 fellows were going
Right.
to come looking for a robbery? Was there?
Well, there had been a couple of robberies previously, and so they said he was very, scared and skittish, and was, kind of like his personality was changing through the course of all this, and so he had like all these security cameras put up around his house with footage, and
Oh,
so he was actually in the basement waiting with the gun, and so he shot the young man as he came down the stairs, and then 10 minutes later he shot the cousin as she was coming into the house.
oh, it was a boy and a girl.
They were I
Don't
don't
usually hear of girls committing these kinds of.
Yeah.
so yeah.
So what happened? What did he get convicted?
He did. He got convicted of murder.
Oh, wow.
It became a huge thing. And so one of my classmates, he was the sheriff investigator on the case, and he's just recently released a book about the whole thing.
Really?
And is his feeling that the guy did lure them into the house?
I haven't read the book yet, but I believe so. Yeah.
Wow. So it's interesting that you say that because I'm sure you know this case, Gypsy Rose Blanchard, the girl whose mom had Munchausen by proxy and treated her like a baby, and she thought she was dying and whatever. She just got released from prison in December and was living in my hometown in Lake Charles, Louisiana, with her new husband. She married a special ed teacher from Lake Charles while she was in prison. So when she got out of prison, she went to Lake Charles, where you've been, Jason. You've been to Lake Charles.
I've stayed with you.
Yeah.
It's the hottest place on
It
earth.
is.
That's so funny. I have a picture of Jason from that trip, and we went to go get snow cones. Remember that snow cone place that used to be down on like South Ryan, which is called something else now?
Oh, yeah.
But it was that little snow cone place was right there, and we took Jason to go get a snow cone, and they had like an industrial sized fan outside of and it's a picture of Jason in front of the fan with like his shirt up, just like drying off while eating a snow cone. It was so hilarious. But yeah, so Gypsy Rose Blanchard, who's from Cutoff, Louisiana, which makes Lake Charles look like a booming metropolis.
Right.
I'll tell you that. But that's where her dad and his wife still live. And so I don't know if she's back there or if she's still in Lake Charles, because she and the husband have now gotten divorced, and she's back with another guy she was with while she was in prison. It's kind
She's
of
gone. She was my son's neighbor. They lived next door to each other at the apartment complex.
Oh, so she left town.
She's out. And it just like that. I knew that was going to happen. A marriage made from over a pen pal relationship.
Okay, but he seemed really, really understanding and patient and kind. Like, as much grief as I'm sure the internet trolls gave him, he was like a big guy. He seemed very protective of her. He was he had a very sweet face, and he's a special ed teacher. Like, if I were getting out of prison and had gotten all of this sort of hoopla and press, I would think that one of the big concerns for me would be somebody getting with me just because of the sort of fetishist, right, hoopla of me being famous by committing a murder. But I thought I thought it would last longer than it did for sure. I didn't think it was. I mean, she just got out in December, and
It was over quick.
6 months later, and it didn't even last that long.
You never know what happens behind closed doors. For
True.
two, maybe a box of Twinkies was found. It was like red flags.
Maybe he found her stash of Twinkies and was like, "This bitch got to go."
Go.
I mean, and it's funny that there was a whole Lifetime thing that they did about her, and they filmed a lot of it in Lake Charles. I was getting like Facebook messages from people like, "I'm seeing Gypsy Rose Lee at the Walmart." Not Gypsy Rose Lee, the musical with the real life.
Wrong one.
Gypsy Rose Blanchard at the Walmart, and I'm seeing all these, like, it's like a blurry picture with like a cart in between them and like the outline of kind of a person that you think could be her, but she must have been getting a lot of that. Did the fella who killed there in your hometown, did he stay in the hometown for a while? Like, was he kind of like that, like a pariah for a while?
Well, it happened in 2012, and so it moved pretty quick. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The trial, that was really quick, and I believe he's still in prison.
Oh,
Wow.
right.
Yeah,
So,
he was originally from Little Falls, and then he had gone and worked overseas for many, many, many years, and he came back to Little Falls to retire. And
wow.
everything.
This was a retiree, so he's an older guy.
Yeah, he was in his 60s.
Wow.
Oh.
Wow. That's just amazing. That's what I mean. This country, I don't know about other countries because I don't watch true crime in other countries, but I do know that Americans are obsessed with true crime stuff.
Yeah.
Like the number of shows on Netflix that are about murder as opposed to the number of shows that are about like actual heroes who have accomplished something. I mean, it's staggering what those statistics are, and it's because that's what we're interested in, right? We want to see it. What do you think that obsession is about?
I think it's how we're raised. I mean, I grew up watching Murder, She Wrote.
Mm.
I blame Angela Lansbury.
I
Oh.
But back
lived
to
for it.
musicals, you see.
Exactly. It's all connected. It's all connected. But no, I was obsessed with Murder, She Wrote. I mean, obsessed. I kept trying to think like, oh, someday I want to go visit Cabot Cove. And
Oh, that's so funny.
I know. And then you find out that it's just all Hollywood backlots, and then the green dies. But you know what I'm saying? But like, there's exterior shots, so somewhere out there is a fake Cabot Cove, and I want to go there. But the thing is like, I think you just grow up watching it. You know what I mean? Like, think about all those types of shows, like Remington Steele.
Right, but I think there's a difference in like, I love Law and Order, right? Like, I could watch
Mhm.
the murder, the sexual assault, the crime. It's all like, I fall asleep to it. I will put it on repeat, right? I'll just turn it on my Peacock app and just let it play while I'm sleeping. And I love sleeping to it because it's a darker show. Like, it never puts really bright light out at me.
Right. Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
just sort of a darker lit show, sort of physically. And then, nobody on it has got like a high pitched, and like, I can't fall asleep to sitcoms because I feel like somebody's always got like that voice up here that makes you just want to like cringe, right? Everybody's voice on SVU is very soothing. They've all got that sort of Keith Morrison sort of a voice. And I mean, honey, if I can fall asleep to Keith Morrison, good Lord, that is heaven. I just want that man. I feel like he needs to start an app where he just starts reading murder books to us, like actual murder, not true fiction, not true, what's nonfiction, true fiction, nonfiction murder books to us to fall asleep. I would purchase that app. I would listen to him read to me all night long.
I don't think I could do it. I think it would seep into my,
Yeah.
into my mind, and then the nightmares would happen.
I get it.
And then
I
I'd
think
wake up
the
in the morning
reason
too. Like, did I dream that or did I actually kill someone? I took my Unisom.
why is there dirt in my shoes?
It's just like, oh,
Did I wear a coat to bed?
no.
I get it. I get it. Do you have a true crime moment, Mike, that lives on for you that you can't seem to shake, or something that really you respond to from it?
This is, I was a reporter, so I reported true crime all the time, and I can't. There's some things I don't want to be a downer, but I will talk about this. I'm not going to give you the details of it, but I'm on the air. I'm about to go on the air to do an update, and then I get a call on the red phone in the newsroom. And I pick it up, and it's the sheriff's office to tell me about this horrible, brutal murder of a 4-year-old girl that happened just an hour before. And he's giving me the information, and he gave me the details, and I am stunned by it. And then they gave me the cue to start talking, and I'm like, the only time I ever choked up on the air delivering the news. And so for me, I don't get the fascination with true crime. I experienced it so much reporting on it.
Life, yeah.
Yeah, I don't. There's so many shows on it, and I'm up to here with it. I'm more sick of true crime stuff than I am with meat.
Oh, wow. That is saying a lot. That is saying a lot. I think what I enjoy about a show like Dateline, or a show that is telling me about a case, is that we know how it ends. Like, if you were like, let's watch Unsolved Mysteries, I'd be like, fuck you, go die. Why would you do that to me? Why would I want to see something when I'm not going to know how it goes or who did it? But I think what I like about those shows is they're going to show me what happened, and then you kind of get, I mean, not always, but on some level, you get a why. You get this person felt wronged by whatever, or we found out that he was, drowning in debt, and so he killed his wife to sort of push suspicion off of him, or whatever that is. Like, to me, it gives me resolution to it, so that it doesn't seem
right. I get it.
horrible, because I can kind of figure out why it happened.
But give me some true crimes where the wife does it and not the husband. It's always the husband.
Then you need to watch Snapped. That is all about women who lose their shit, and they're like, no, not this ends today. Like, it is incredible how many women are the one. Like, the minute they show who died on Snapped, you're like, yep, it was the wife. That's all you have to know. I mean, it's
Talking about expired milk, and she snapped.
That's right. And it's so funny that it's always something different. Like, some women, of course, snap over infidelity, or some women will snap over something like, he didn't pick her up to take her bowling that night, or he was late for their anniversary dinner, and you're like, this bitch really did just go because, and I'm sure it's never one thing, right? It's always a plethora of things, but.
Well, I always think like the shows ultimately end up being like a how-to cautionary, like a cautionary tale of like, well, they got busted because of a hair. Do you know what I mean? So you're like, if I'm gonna, snap and murder someone, I have to go shave first.
You have to shave off all your body hair. And what I think the key is too, is to kill someone while you're naked.
Either that, or you need to have a murder outfit that is just set aside for murder, and then you have an identical outfit that you wear normally. Do you know what I mean? Because then they're like, well, your black hoodie's missing. And it's like, no, it's not. It's right here. Do you know? And then they test it, and there's no like gunpowder or residue.
You need to have two outfits, is what you're saying. A dummy outfit that you wear. I was like, oh, that's smart.
You thought this through.
Burn,
I saw an episode of, what was the one with David Caruso?
And where
CSI
that are not your size.
Yes, agreed. You need to wear shoes that are way bigger than yours.
You're
For sure. You need to wear like size 15 shoes that you like special order on the internet ahead of time, but that they can't trace to you
Right. They,
on the internet. It's a whole thing. You got to think of so many things. But I saw a case on what was it, CSI is what you said? The
Mhm.
David Caruso one where they couldn't the person had been stabbed and they and through the heart and they died and they couldn't find the murder weapon. They couldn't figure out what the murder weapon was, but there was water next to the body,
Ice.
an icicle. Someone killed the person with an icicle, like a sharp, sharp piece of ice. And I thought, wow,
That's
that's a
smart.
good one because they can't test that for the fingerprints.
oh right,
So it
yes.
really was kind of a how-to. It's
Yeah.
here's the thing you didn't think of, and you do get to find out like what was the thing that, you know, made it all kind of come together.
Oh, absolutely. It's always that newfound piece of evidence, that, betrays the crime. So you have to
It's
just be careful. You have to be smart about it,
It's always, and I also like about those kind of true crime shows because sometimes Dateline will point you in the wrong direction because the cops are
Uh-huh.
going in the wrong direction, right? You're like convinced it's the boyfriend. I saw one the other day and you're like, it was the boyfriend. He was being very controlling with her. He was angry. He was jealous. Now he had reason to be. She was messing around with everybody, in town, but he was getting very short with her. He was looking through her phone, right? You think it's the boyfriend, the boyfriend, the boyfriend, and then you find out it was the girl that was there doing her hair who
Oh,
discovered the body, and you're like, what? She turns out she was in love with her the whole time. What? Like it was, I love when that happens. When you figure out that the whole time you were led down one path and boom, it was
it's
somebody else.
classic Scooby-Doo, the red herring,
It
oh
is.
yeah.
you
It is
know.
classic. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Phyllis, Taylor.
It's like, oh, you always think it's the baker, but it's not. It's the mill owner,
It
you
was
know.
Dan nuts the whole time.
Uh, yeah. See, I mean, it's just crime's just been with us since we were little. It's just so
It's true.
ingrained.
I think what you're talking about too is that the murder mystery sort of setup, right? Even that fictionalized one that we know is gonna, again, I think it's satisfying to us because at the end of every episode on Murder She Wrote, you found out who did it and why. Right?
Exactly.
At the end of Scooby Doo, we know who did it and why. It was the guy that owned the carnival who didn't have the money to keep the carnival going. And he was trying to scare us away so that he could get the insurance money to keep, it's a whole thing. And those shows are satisfying because you figure it out, right?
Yeah.
It's the resolution.
Yeah. Did you watch that show, Pretty Little Liars? Did you watch that show?
I did.
Oh my God. I would text my friends and just send them a message like, watch out, A.
That
I,
show was so unsatisfying for me because I felt like they didn't know how it was going to end. So they kept giving us all these like false endings, like you think you know who A is, and then the text messages start again, and you're like, what? Right? It was all just for them to keep you baited, and they were kind of breadcrumbing us the whole time. Whereas something like Murder One, I don't know if you watched that show. It was only on for a couple of seasons, but at the end of the season, this whole time you're wondering who did it, who did it, who did it, who did it. You're like, will we ever find out? And then the final episode turns out there was a video of the crime in the girl's bedroom where it happened, and you get to see exactly what happened. And it was so satisfying. You're not wondering. There's no ice pick under the bed, and you're like, did she do it? Did she not? And they tell you, they show you, you see the video. So it was completely satisfying. So I think that's what is ingrained in us as kids by watching shows like Murder She Wrote or Law and Order or, anything but Pretty Little Liars and Unsolved Mysteries. You find out who did it. And so it's, you want that completion, right? That's what makes you in your head go, oh, well, it's okay now because the bad guy's in jail, right?
I do
So it's
prefer completion.
yeah.
yeah, that makes total sense. Yeah.
I feel like I've solved the mystery right here. Like
But then plot twist, she
yes,
pulled out a Twinkie.
the whole time it was the hostess man. in in the library with the Twinkie.
It's so easy though to get caught up in it,
Yeah.
I've discovered like, and this is what I learned about myself, like through like, because I'll watch the shows or like like a movie or whatever, and I get really wrapped up into it, and then like I go to bed that night and I'm laying there, and then I hear a sound, and then for the next 3 hours I'm playing possum in bed. It's like if someone were to break in, and I shouldn't say this out loud, especially broadcast, but like if someone were to ever break in, there would be zero resistance. It'd be like weird. Like we've turned on every light and the stereo, and he's still sleeping. Like, and I would throw in the snores every so often.
See, I always make noise. Like that's gonna stop anyone with a weapon in my house. I'm like, I'm here, and my husband has a gun. Like I'm yelling shit at nobody. Nobody's in the house, but I get convinced that there is, right? Like I called the maintenance guy that I use to come over here and look at my air conditioning unit because I was like, dude, somebody is crawling in my air conditioning ducts. I can hear them. Either it's a person or a rat or a raccoon. Something is up there. I hear like flat, like a rattle. There's a rattle, and it's happening. And he goes, "Yeah, there's a flap on the outside of your house to the air vent that lets And it's just when the wind starts blowing really hard, it's just clacking, and you're hearing it echo through the vents and in your bathroom. And that's what the problem. Because I'll be peeing at like 4 a.m. and hear what I think are like raccoons having a fucking party in my air conditioning vents, and I'm like, you got to get over here right now. He's like, it's 3 a.m. I'll come in the morning and see what's going on,
Nope. I play possum on the toilet. Every morning, the sun would be coming up. My legs would be asleep because I haven't stood up from the toilet for 4 hours. Oh no, sick at work because
that is so funny. Yeah. So funny. I love it.
True story. Honest to God, I kid you not. I was living in Las Vegas and I was watching Murder, She Wrote because I had it on DVD. And this is before
I believe in physical media.
Well, it was before all the streaming craze. And
right?
So I was just watching it, like, I was watching a few of them in a row. And so I wasn't paying attention. And there was an actual thunderstorm in Vegas. And so the lightning went, and so the power went out in my apartment, and it was night, and I was sitting on the couch, and I didn't connect the dots that it was a storm. So the power went out, and I sat on the couch, and I kind of like went limp, and I was like, this is it. Like, this is what's gonna happen. Like, I'm gonna be murdered in Vegas.
This is how I die.
Yeah, and then because I was working with Louis at the time, and then he called me. And
Louis Anderson, by the way, everybody. Jason opened for Louis Anderson for years and years. A huge accomplishment, and one of the nicest, most legendary comedians that there ever was. So continue. Sorry.
So he called me, and he's just like, "What are you doing?" And I told him, and I said, "I've been playing dead for like 20 minutes." Like, what is wrong with you?
That's a great impersonation, by the way.
It's like, who I am. Like,
yeah, that's so funny. You're not gonna fight back. You're gonna just
no. I will drop to the ground, and then I'll just probably toss my wallet a few feet away. Take what you need. Let me be. I'm asleep.
Get away from me. Now, have you ever been, not clearly you have never been a victim of murder because you're here talking to us, but have you ever been a victim of crime? Has anybody ever mugged you or robbed you have you ever had anyone in your house or anything?
No, never.
Oh, wow.
I'm one of those, I lock everything. I lock the doors, I lock the windows. Like the car's in the garage, but the car's locked inside the
I'm the same way. My mother's like, why do you lock the door from your garage into your house? Because somebody could pop the garage, you moron. Wouldn't you hear that? I'm asleep. I'm not listening for the garage while I'm asleep.
Yeah, no, but it's so funny because you always heard those urban legends growing up, you know what I mean, about someone in the back seat of the car.
Oh yeah.
Honest to God, to this day, if I'm driving and someone's like flash their brights behind me, I'm driving and I do the possum. I hold my breath because I think someone's in the back seat and they're trying to alert me.
And they're trying to tell you.
Oh, crap.
But then I just do this real casual. It's like, oh, the gas looks a little low. Yeah.
That's so. It's not scary though when you're driving alone at night. I mean, you know, and you have a little tiny car. I feel like somebody would really have to be small and to attack you in that car to be in your back seat.
Maybe they really would have to be, but it's possible. It all goes
You
back-
gotta watch the little one.
little ones will get you always. No, so what happened is this once, I had just gotten my driver's license and we were staying at my dad's house. And so we went up to Coburn's, the grocery store, to get some stuff. And so my sister came along and then her friend Jill came along. So it's the three of us. And so it was like one of those big, like 1973 Buicks, you know, that had like the super long seats. Like
Right.
So,
The bench seats.
you know, and this is the, you know, early 90s. So like no one's even wearing seatbelts or anything. And so we just all had piled in the front, right? So we go into the grocery store, get the stuff, we come back out and they just had the bag. It was just like bread and like mayonnaise or something. And got back into the car, into the front seat. And then all of a sudden, as I was about to put it into drive and pull out, all of a sudden there was like this rustling sound from the back seat. And so I quickly threw it in park and I screamed. I was like, get out of the car. Someone's in the car, right? Because we were all in the front seat. Well, what happened is someone ditched their dog in the back seat of the car. They abandoned their dog and like the dog food and the dog toys and the dog leash, like all this stuff.
Someone just left you like a dog and a dog take care kit in your car?
Yeah, they were just like, well, guess we gotta get rid of this dog. I mean, everything. Like, I mean, everything was like in the back seat of this huge car. And none of us had seen the dog when we got in because we all just piled into the front seat. And so, yeah, so there was this moment where I thought I was going to be murdered, but then it was a dog. And then we went back to my dad's, and my dad thought we went and just got the dog because we had wanted the dog.
Right.
Sure.
So he didn't really
Because we
believe
got all
us.
these supplies. Oh, sure, you found the dog.
Someone
with
left
all the
it.
supplies. That makes sense.
So he was just like, no, you guys did this. You got the dog. We're like, we really didn't get the dog. And so it was just this whole crazy thing.
And what happened to the dog?
Yeah.
The fire chief took him.
Oh, that's sweet. Yeah. What kind of dog was it?
You know, I didn't look at it long enough.
I'm such a lesbian. I'm so worried about the dog in this scenario. I'm like, what happened to the dog? Not are you safe? What happened to the dog?
It's like going to become like a, you know, Tuesdays with Maury now with you and the.
Oh my God, Jason, this has been so much fun talking to you today about true crime. You can find Jason on Instagram at Jason Schommer. He is, let me tell you how to spell Schommer because it's a little bit crazy. SCHOMMER at Jason Schommer. Of course, it appears in the title of this podcast if you need to look at it and find him on the internets. He is worth finding. He is headlining all over the country, and he has a website that is due to be launched next month. So we'll be able to look at his schedule and find out where he is and stalk him appropriately. Jason, thank you so much for joining us today. Yeah. You are a delight.
Thank you. It was super fun.
And I am going to now go find some Twinkies. I feel like that's what I feel it's the time of month where I might need a ding dong. I might need the chocolate and not the vanilla. Though there is a chocolate covered Twinkie called a Chocodile.
I don't think so.
Remember those?
Yeah, I don't like them.
So good.
I like my ding dongs and my Twinkies separate.
All right. You're a little divisive there with that.
But I do love sorry, I didn't mean to start a thing.
All I know is I just felt unsafe, so I went into possum. I was like, it's getting hostile in here. This is rage. This is going to be a crime of passion.
We've got to go. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Bitchin' Over Biscuits. Join us again next week when we will have a different celebrity guest, and we will be delving into a different genre of podcast. For right now, this is Jason Schommer. I am Jen Kober with Mike Brignac. It's been Bitchin' Over Biscuits, and we are out.